hao, xin chào, whatever else your greeting of choice may be, from Sweatsville, Tennessee, otherwise known as Haiphong, Vietnam. Bit of a change of pace for today's video. I'm going to do this at my kitchen table, listening to the lilting sounds of terrible karaoke coming through the back door. Hopefully I can keep this one short. I'm going to start off by saying this is basically a video to celebrate the fact that I have not been running for the last week. While that may sound like an odd thing to celebrate, I am giving myself a pat on the back, or I would if I could reach, for managing to do that. And the reason I've been doing that is because I am ill. Although not quite as ill right now as I was last week. But yeah, basically I had some sort of bug that felt like a sinus infection. I think this is the 8th day where I have had 0 mileage. I just wanted to have a little update and say that I don't feel too bad about that. I think if anything, it's a sign of me maturing as a runner. And the reason I say that is because this particular illness feels a lot like one I had 2 years ago, and I have approached it in a very different way. So 2 years ago, while I was preparing for what turned out to be my current marathon PB, I got a bout of sinusitis. Now we all know the old adage, oh, above the neck, you can keep running, and if it's, you know, below, then stop. And I didn't really have a cough or anything. I felt mostly fine, like low level terrible, but I didn't feel like running was having a huge impact on me, so I just sort of kept doing it. And I kind of got a little bit better, and then I got a little bit worse, and I got a little bit better again, and then I went out and did a marathon tempo run in the rain and got significantly worse, and sort of just slowly and without realizing it, I got up to about a month or so where it hadn't got completely better. And it basically turned into a bout of chronic sinusitis. I think in the end it lasted for about 6 weeks. And during that bout of chronic sinusitis, I developed a nasal polyp in my sinus, nostril, somewhere up there at the back of my face holes, and I had to go into hospital and have it surgically removed, which I should say was not particularly pleasant. I mean, obviously it stopped me from running, but just in a general like experience sort of way. It's the first time I've ever been under general anesthetic, and currently the last time, and yeah, I can say that that's not an experience I particularly enjoyed. That feeling of coming round, having been out, where you just got enough consciousness to be able to question whether or not you have consciousness, and it slowly sort of floods back. It's just generally a very unpleasant feeling. Anyway, long story short, this time I sort of got ill, kept running. After about 3 days it started to get better, and then kept running some more, and then after another 3 days it sort of got worse and went back to how it was at the beginning, and I went, this feels remarkably familiar, screw this, I'm just not going to run. Because like running isn't like terrible when you're ill, and there's plenty of times when you've got a cold or even the flu where you might be able to get out and get in some runs, and it might even be beneficial, but it can also have an impact on your recovery, a bit of a knock-on for your immune system. And so I was like, well look, if this is going to have any sort of a negative effect, I really don't want to go through that experience from 2 years ago again. I think it's best to just rest. And for someone who likes to get out and run consistently day after day, that was a huge decision, and it's a decision I think I probably wouldn't have been able to make until this year. So having made it and sat back for a week without running, which is, you know, again, not been great, I do kind of feel proud of myself for doing that, and I am starting to feel better, and so it feels to me like it's paying off. And it's one of those few situations where I can be like, I've genuinely listened to my body, taken a step back, and I think it has been for my own benefit. Now there is obviously still the possibility that I come back in 3 weeks with a video going, hey, I was in hospital again. You know, we're not out of the woods yet, but I feel like I'm getting better. I don't have any weird mutant grey-green snot coming out in massive clumps, which if you've had a nasal polyp, I'm sure you'll understand, and if you haven't, I wouldn't necessarily recommend you going on Google and Googling polyp snot, because it's really disgusting. But yeah, I feel like I'm on the mend. In fact, probably I'll get out either tonight or tomorrow and have like a short, very easy run just to feel out the legs and see how things are going. So yeah, that's the first point, just me being proud that I've done absolutely nothing for the last week. But I did think that having, you know, this time where I would usually be running in my lunch break would be nice just to give it a little update on how things are going. Obviously this break is like a mini sort of reset, but I feel like it's come at a good time. We've just started August, and so July is behind us. I believe July is the hottest month of the year in Vietnam, so we're kind of over the hump and everything should start to get slightly more pleasant over the next, like, I don't know, 4 months or something. If I remember back to last year, November was still pretty unbearable in places, so it's gonna be a slow slope, but at least there's sort of light at the end of the tunnel and we're heading in the right direction. And so having a little break here feels like a nice sort of soft reset before I can start building up some base mileage and then starting a new marathon training block, which is kind of exciting because I'm currently in the process of designing an entirely new marathon training plan for myself based on, I guess, old training plans, but also things that I've tried that I like, and well, getting rid of things that I don't like, and sort of videos that I've watched and books that I've read and ideas from other places and coaches and athletes on YouTube and stuff that I've just sort of put together and has gone in my ears somehow over the last few years. I'm not going to go into any details here because I haven't finished it yet, and I'm probably going to do a video on that and then like a small series on the actual training as I go through it. But yeah, just for now it's kind of exciting because my training's been mostly the same ever since I started, and this will sort of mix things up a bit, and I want to try some, I want to try quite a lot of new stuff actually. And while I am going to be sort of gearing towards a marathon, it's going to be slightly interrupted training because I have a few races lined up that are going to affect what I can do, and some of them that are going to require quite large recovery periods. That's going to mean any marathon training that I have is not going to be 100% ideal. And so that's sort of the next thing that I wanted to talk about is just an update on my racing. Obviously I had a video at the start of the year where I said races that I was targeting. Currently I have a few races that I'm signed up for, including one that I signed up for literally this morning. And that is the next race that I'm going to do, the Yenda Ultra Trail. So I might as well start with that. Now the reason that I signed up for that is because it's about an hour and a half's motorbike ride away from here, so I could literally just drive there myself. So it's close by and it's convenient and it's out in the countryside, so it'll be fun. So I thought I'd go and take part. That is going to be on the 6th of September, which if this was in the UK would probably be ideal weather for trail racing. But because we're in Vietnam, it's probably going to be unpleasantly hot and humid. I know we might luck out and there's like a cold front coming over for those few days, but I'm expecting it to be fairly uncomfortable temperature, which is one of the reasons why I only signed up for the 25K program. There is a 50K program, but I thought, what with the weather, and the other main reason being that the 50K has 3,000 plus meters of vert, and I'm not really sure I'm ready for that, especially not in early September here where it's, like I say, going to be hot. So I just plumped on the 25 because I think that'll be like a 3 to 4 hours depending on the conditions. I think it's 1,100 meters of vert, so it's sort of roughly in line with things that I've done before. Then I've signed up for the 5K race at the Haiphong Marathon in December. And not only have I signed myself up for that, but I've signed my wife up for that, which would be her first ever race. She doesn't really run at the moment, so what I'm hoping to do is to sort of shoehorn her into one of those couch to 5K programs and try and make a video where we do a bit of review couch to 5K for people who are genuinely complete and utter beginners. Like, she does no exercise at all. So yeah, I think it'll be good for her. A, because I think she needs to do exercise. We're getting on in years. And B, because yeah, it'll be fun. Looking at sort of training and racing from a completely different perspective. Actually, before that, I missed one out. In October, I think the 18th of October, maybe, there is the Vietnam Jungle Marathon, which I've signed up for the 50K program, which I think is, I've got it written down here, give me a sec, 47.7 kilometers with 2,000 meters of vert. It might be 1,950, but whatever. So that is basically 5 to 6 kilometers longer than the Guk Fong Jungle Paths race that I did, with essentially twice the elevation. So it's sort of a similar distance, but a lot more up and down. I feel like that's a good sort of next step as I build up in this sort of world of ultra trail running or whatever. Keep a similar distance, add on some extra vert, change one of the variables, make it a little bit harder, not too much harder. I think that'll be a good challenge, and the area that that race is in looks really cool, so it'll be a nice little sort of, I think we're planning on doing like a 4-day holiday with the family. Then after that, we got the Haiphong Marathon 5K. I'm also hoping to go back to Halom again to either do like a half marathon or a 10K. And then there are a couple of other sort of races in the general vicinity, like there's some marathons in Hanoi towards the end of the year. Basically, I'm probably going to sign up for another 2 races, like ideally. a road 10K and a road half marathon. So that way this year I'll be doing like trail marathons, a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon on the road. Give me the opportunities to try and break some PBs and, you know, just race some distances that aren't quite as sort of painful and daunting as the full marathon. I've never run an organised 5K, so the Highfield Marathon is going to be kind of fun. I still have that outstanding 39-minute 10K target that I really want to beat. And if training goes well and I lose a little bit of weight, because that should help, then there is the chance that I might finally be able to push for that sub 90-minute half marathon, based on the confidence that I got from my Boxing Day half marathon at the end of last year. Then the final race that I have penciled in is not this year, it is the beginning of next year. It is for the 31st of January, I believe, and that is the Vietnam Trail Marathon, where I am going to be running the 70K program. So my jungle marathon is a step up from my Guk Feng jungle marathon, and the trail marathon should be a step up from the Vietnam jungle marathon. And that one is the 70K program, but in reality 66 kilometers with 3,000 meters of vert. Oh well, my notes say 2,950 for all intents and purposes. And so those sort of 2 trail marathons and ultra marathon, they're probably going to require at least like 1 or 2 weeks of sort of rest and recovery, like at least 1 week just off after each of them, and then like another week going slowly back into it. So these things are sort of going to break up my marathon training program, and it's going to mean that as exciting as it is, I'm not necessarily giving it the ideal opportunity to have maximum effect. But you know, these are compromises you make when training. I'm not singularly focused on the marathon right now, and these are things that I think are going to be really fun and enjoyable, and targets that I sort of want to reach, hit, achieve, whatever verb you want to throw in there. So the only other sort of thing to update is how the blog's going. When this video goes out, it should probably only be about a week after the last video, but the last video will come out at least a good month after the video before that. When I started this, I originally planned to do like a video every week, and then that sort of trailed off a bit. I mean, partly because life, work, like bringing up a kid, and also just because of the summer, like I can't get outside. So if I want to do any running related stuff, it's up on a noisy treadmill with no scenery, and it just like doesn't lend itself to making videos very well. But the main thing is just sort of life. Like I've been busy, got stuff to do, and again, sort of a sign of maturing is, I think when I was younger, if I'd have set myself a target of every week and then I'd missed 1 week, it'd be like, okay, that's it, give up the whole thing, can't do it, I've failed. Whereas now I'm much more happy to say, you know what, I'm gonna aim for 2 weeks, which is, I guess, the update, and then, you know, basically just throw out a video whenever I've got a video to throw out. Like right now, I enjoy making these videos, but I mean, let's be honest, the channel hasn't really taken off. It's not a huge priority for me. Like I still haven't really completely settled in on a sort of identity and type of content that I'm making. And the ones that I prefer the most, like races and training stuff, is nobody watches. Like I would have loved to continue my sort of noodle challenge from Shanghai. Like food videos are great, but spoiler alert, the food in Haiphong is atrocious, so it's not really a lot to do on that front. If we ever move back to Shanghai, that's certainly something I would look at. But yeah, I'm tentatively going back to the idea of maybe just trying to put one of these out every 2 weeks, and if I've got something else to do, I'll add it in more frequently, and if I don't, then I won't. If anyone has any ideas or things that they want to see, please leave me a comment and give me some suggestions. I'm more than happy to try and do some new stuff. That's yeah, basically it. I just wanted a little update video, A, to have some content, B, because I haven't had a video in a while, C, because, you know, it's good to remind people that you don't have to run yourself to death. And so that's enough for me today. I have to get back to work. It's been nice having this little chat, and hope to see you next time.